Buzz. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Medley number 252. 252. I'm gonna go ahead and start the medley at the top. Should be done with the music portion of the stream at 9:45 ish. 9:45, and then we can start talking about episode 300 and beyond, and what's gonna be changed there. That's the medley for today. 50 minutes. 50 minutes is pretty good. 50 minutes is pretty good. Almost a full hour. Okay. It's Tuesday, guys. It's Tuesday. It's Trash Tuesday. If you didn't hear earlier, it's Trash Day. Forgot to take out the trash. Also, I forgot to prep bananas, so there is no smoothie today. I hope everybody had a good Monday. Real easy, real chill, easing into the week. Yesterday, I put up the curtains in the living room. I don't really want to talk about it because it took a very long time, and I'm almost certain that I put them up crooked. I used a level. The level said it was level, and I stepped back, and I swear it's just maybe 1 degree off. Just enough that it's noticeable. So, I don't want to talk about it. I didn't do the rooms yet, so that's today. That's today's project, if I have time. I do have to do a lot of running around today. I think I may have fixed the issue with my car. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I think I may have fixed it my own self. So that could be cool if that's true. What was the other thing that I had to do yesterday? Fix the curtains, fix the thing, get the commission in. I got the commission in, guys. I got it in. It's not mastered yet, but luckily I don't have to do that. I do want to dip into talking about mastering for just a second. Now, this could be a really boring conversation because a lot of the people in the stream are not musicians, and even the ones that are musicians, not all of the musicians in the stream know what mastering is, regularly master their songs, whatever. Who cares, right? Over and Under is not released, Neobo. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. I didn't see the comment till just now. Over and Under is not released. Most of the stuff I play in the stream isn't released. The only stuff that is released is Signals, Neobo. The Signals is the only piano music I really have out. Buzz says it's election day. Indeed, Buzz. I always missed what I said earlier, but our trash people came at the same time. Oh, that's pretty cool. Kismet. Good morning, Liana. Good morning. I did play Double Lutz already. I feel bad. I just assumed that you were in here because we were an hour in. But you've heard that song so many times. I'm sure you're bored with it. Welcome, Liana. I hope you're having a good Tuesday so far. Back to current events. That's it. I finished all my work yesterday. I have a lot of work to do today, but I'm at least on schedule, if that makes sense. I have a meeting today at 2. I have Pizzanista today at before then. I have Pizzanista significantly earlier than that, I hope. And then I'm probably going to bury myself in work and not be glued to the news too much. I'm also probably going to play video games. Screw it, right? Okay, there was something that... Oh, mastering. That's what I was getting into. Thank you for remembering on me. So, a lot of people don't know what mastering is. So, a quick explanation, kind of, on what mastering is. Mastering is... Think of it like formatting of a sound file. You can master anything. You can master a dog bark. You can master a song. You can master audio for a movie. You can master dialogue. Basically, all you're doing in a master is taking a lot of things and making it one thing. Think of mastering as baking a cake. There's a lot of stuff that goes into baking a cake. Oh, somebody disliked the stream. I'm sorry. Maybe I said something wrong. Anyways, think of it as baking a cake, right? You put in your sugar, you put in your flour, you put in your eggs, butter. I haven't made a cake in a very long time, so you put in milk. Anyways, you put in all this stuff into a cake. And while you're stirring it in the bowl, there are some things you can do, right? There are some things you can do. Maybe you can add some extra ingredients. Maybe you can, maybe you can alter your ratios, right? Like maybe you put in too many eggs, so you put in some more other things to kind of like compensate. You can still do a lot while it's in the mixing phase. Oh, wow. This analogy works way better than I thought it would. Okay, so there is a mixing phase, you know, when you're mixing the cake mix. During that phase, you can still do a lot of changes to it. Once the cake is baked, you really can't do much. You know, it is a baked piece of cake. It's too late to add extra flour. It's too late to add extra eggs. If it's not sweet, you can put stuff on top of it, but that isn't making the cake itself sweeter. It's just putting sweet stuff on top of the cake. You can't change the taste of this bread any longer now that the cake is baked. Now, songs can be the same way. Think of it how when you're in the mixing phase of a song, which some of you aren't completely alien to because you see me do it on Fridays. In the mixing phase of a song, you know, you can change the piano track to be a little bit louder. You can add some reverb or echo, delay. You can add effects to things. You can really change the sound. I can go into the MIDI files on my DAW, my program of choice, and I can even move the notes around. Maybe I don't want it to hit this chord anymore. Maybe I want it to hit that chord, and now in the song it hits that chord instead of this chord. You can change things around in the mixing phase. Once you have the song mastered, it's way too late to change any of that. It's as far as like changing things inside of the song, it's just too late. But the plus side to that is, and it sticks true to this analogy with the cake, you know, and when you're making a cake, we all can agree that eating a spoonful of cake mix versus eating a slice of cake is not the same thing. True, it is all the same ingredients, right? It's all the same ingredients. You're technically consuming the same things, but it does not taste the same, and you're not going to get the same maybe pleasure, sensation, flavor from eating a baked cake versus eating a spoonful of cake mix, cake batter, whatever. That's the same thing with a song. A lot of times in a song, ooh-wee, ooh-wah. A lot of times in a song, when you mix it, there's a lot of stuff that's going on there. And what you're hearing from my song, you know, on Fridays when I do my production stream, what you're hearing while you're working on your song in Fruity Loops or Ableton or whatever is your DAW of choice, is not necessarily what you're going to hear after you get it mastered. The reason we have things mastered is because it's going to be optimizing the sound. It's going to be bringing everything up and making it louder, making things a little bit more even, you know, and then making it so that if somebody listens to the music on AirPods, or they listen to the music in their car stereo, or they listen to the music in a club, or they listen to it in H&M, generally we're going to get an even representation of this song. It's basically preparing it so that everybody can have an equal listening experience. And it's like a general polishing of the song. It is hard to put into a very concise sentence, i.e. mastering is blank. But the best way that I can explain it is the cake analogy. Because what exactly are you doing when you put the cake mix or the cake batter into the oven? A lot of things are happening. A lot of chemicals are reacting to each other. Things are getting maybe drier than they were. Like a lot of the moisture is leaving it. Things are leavening. Leavening is a whole thing. There's a lot happening actually, chemically, physically inside of cake mix when you heat it up in an oven. The same thing happens to mastering. Now, if you have bad mix in cake, right? Like if you have mix that is poorly done, then no amount of baking it is going to make it good. You know, you can have cake mix that is missing some critical ingredients, and it doesn't matter whether you cook it slow, fast, hot, warm. It doesn't really matter what you do at that point. You're missing vital ingredients to make it good, make it taste good. And so the master can't fix a bad mix. It can't fix a song that's poorly made. If you have a song that's kind of and things are peaking or things are way too quiet, and then you master it, it's not going to suddenly have the song coming out the other end sounding like Katy Perry. More of the work has to be done before. I would say most of the work in cake is done in the mixing phase, and then the mastering phase is it's going to make all of your work pop a little bit more. It's going to make all of your work, if there's the payoff there, but it's not going to make bad mix good. Same thing happens for music. A lot of the times when I'm listening to music on my headphones or on my monitors, it's not going to sound the same as what you guys are hearing because it's still in the mixing phase. You know, everybody's ear and everybody's piece of gear they're listening to music with is a little bit different. We can all agree with this. Um, it takes, I mean, some mastering engineers, I will say, Lindsay, if they heard me say that mastering takes way less time than mixing, I could see a lot of them maybe getting a little bristled with this because I think it might imply that mastering is easier. Mastering is a very difficult thing, but I would say mixing takes way more time because mixing to me is integrated into the phase of writing and arranging. Sometimes within the mixing process, something won't fit or something won't work, and you'll actually change the way you've arranged the song. Once things are in the mastering phase, people in the mastering phase just have one fat waveform that they're dealing with. While in the mixing phase, you have like 13 plus different things you're trying to keep wrangle hold of. So I would say that mixing takes a little bit longer. I'm not going to say it takes more skill. I'll just say it takes quite a bit longer and is maybe a little bit more complicated. Um, my headphones do help me mix and master my stuff, says Mobtown. Um, Interesting. Word. Good. So opposed to mixing, where you mess with individual parts, you mess with the whole thing. Yes, Lindsay, you mess with the entire track. Um, I would say personally that something that's interesting is we have mastering houses, right? Mastering house is same thing as a mixing house. It's where you send the song to get it mixed or send the song to get it mastered. But something to keep in mind, everybody, is that there is no one way to mix a thing. There is no one way to master a thing. There's lots of really, really cool videos and studies where they have sent a song to 5 really, really well, world-renowned, skilled, experienced mastering engineers and mixing engineers and have them mix the same track to their liking, to their ear. And it came back with some sometimes subtle and sometimes very dramatic variant, variations between the different songs. So something to keep in mind when it comes to mixing and mastering, guys, is that always strive to improve, right? But always remember that mixing and mastering is the same as making music. It's really up to you, and it's up to your ear, and it's up to what you want to hear in a song. Some people really like mixes that sound super crisp and clean, like Zed's songs from like 2010. Sometimes people want mixing and mastering also that sounds very like distorted and bloated in a way. Like think about the Mars Volta if you're familiar with that band, or basically any hyperpop song that's coming out right now. Like those songs do not sound cleanly mixed, and it's an intentional thing, you know. Same things with the masters. So I mean, have a goal in mind. A lot of mastering agents and a lot of mixing houses actually prefer that you send them a reference track. You know, you send them your song, and then you send them a song that you feel like has the general sonic qualities and feel that you're going for, so they kind of know where they're shooting for when they're mixing or mastering your music. That is a thing that happens. That is a thing that they will often ask for. But I will say, um, having a goal in mind in all phases of music and art is very important because a lot of people sometimes will feel like they're failing or feel like they're not hitting the mark, but they're not even sure what the mark is. If you don't have a mark, a specific mark in sight, you're always gonna fail. You're always gonna fail because you don't have a goal. And also, realistic goals, right? And I don't even mean realistic goals in kind of like a depressing way, like, hey, you're not going to be the best, you know, set your aim lower, you know, set the bar low. I'm not saying necessarily that. I'm just saying realistic goals in, like, let's say I'm doing a huge orchestra, like I'm doing an orchestral piece, and I want it to, like, hit really hard like a Z track. I have to be realistic. It's probably not going to hit really hard like a Z track. It's an orchestral movement, you know? So just having realistic goal points, you know, when it comes to mastering and mixing. The interesting thing about mastering is there's a lot of like algorithmically mastered things, but this doesn't really exist for mixing. Something to keep in mind. I don't want to say that this is indicative of how simple mastering is versus mixing, but I will say there aren't really a lot of systems and engines that you can just plug all your stems into and it'll mix your song for you because mixing is very, very complicated, a lot of moving parts. Whereas there are a lot of like online services where you just send them a track and it's not even a person, it's like an algorithm that will master your song. I mean, SoundCloud has mastering built into it now. I have not tried it. I don't trust it, but there's no real reason why maybe I shouldn't trust it. I just don't really trust things with the word SoundCloud on them. But if you get your music mixed by SoundCloud, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that it's like particularly worse off than a song mixed by or mastered, sorry, by a human being. It's just up to you and your taste and what you want out of your song. Some people put more bass, others put more treble, and sometimes equal amounts of both. This is true, Mobtown. Um, I'm shooting for audio that you can hear, says Cyber. Ah, indeed. You know, Cyber's making a joke, but I think one of the biggest issues I have with mixing is that I want to be able to hear everything. And it's such a it's such a not real it's such a not realistic thing, right? Does anybody quite understand what I'm saying? I'm going to elaborate a little bit, not too much. But if I have a song where there's bass, piano, there's strings, and I don't just mean strings, I mean there's cellos, there's violas, there's violins, there's a contrabass in there. And then I have woodwinds going, there's flutes, oboes, bassoons, clarinets, piccolos playing. And then I also have drums, and I also have vocals, and I have like a level of my vocal pitched up. There's so many pieces now to this mix of this hook, let's call it, or the outro. That's usually when I go big, around an outro. So there's so many pieces to this outro. I personally, as an artist, want every aspect to be tangibly heard. I want people to hear, oh, here's the woodwinds. No, it's not just one woodwind. It seems like it's four. Oh, here's the string section. Here's the bass. I want people to hear everything. And in music, it's just not realistic. Frequency range is a thing, guys, and you're never really going to be able to hear everything. Even when you go and you see an orchestra. I don't know if you guys have seen like an orchestra play. I have had the luxury, I should say, I don't know, the privilege of seeing an orchestra play a few times in my life in like a pretty big hall. I'll say, you don't hear all the instruments. They're there and they're contributing something, but you can't individually hear all of them. But when you, the artist, have painstakingly placed the notes or arranged and written the notes, you kind of can selfishly want people to hear the work you put in. And sometimes this can get in the way of mixing brain. Because when you're mixing songs, it's not necessarily important that each individual sound be heard in all of its clarity. It's more so important that everything mixed together and congeal harmoniously. And sometimes you have to sacrifice a sound being heard for it to contribute to the overall sound. I'm sure there's a really, really great analogy where this plays into uh, like visual art. There's a lot of like really funny memes of people making fun of people who make fun of animators who work for like big projects, and they're like, look at these frames. They'll like pause like an anime at a bad frame. They're like, this is horrible. I can't believe Funimation is, you know, like they'll tear apart like a big thing. And it's like sometimes this is important. Sometimes it's important, and visual artists will intentionally leave like background characters looking like really blurry or poorly animated because it's not its purpose to be at the forefront. It's not supposed to take a lot of attention. Maybe the backgrounds are really like a whack in this cartoon you watch, and it's like, yeah, the background isn't the star of the show. It's supposed to just be a background. Sometimes people can get really upset about that, but they don't. A lot of times, people don't have that same critical takedown or hot take for sonic art, which is the exact same thing. There's so many times, guys, like I'm sure we've heard a Frank Ocean song or whatever, where there's a bunch of instruments you can't hear happening in that song, and nobody knows to complain because nobody knows those instruments are there. It's just that people are, in my opinion, a little bit more visual than they are. I had this debate in the stream where I say that people are way more visual than they are sonic, as far as like the way they take in information. Um, People don't know how to pull apart sound as well as they can pull apart images in front of them. And so people are a little bit less critical of music. So you, as the person creating the music, sometimes can be overcritical to compensate, and this can get in the way of mixing. This can get in the way. People spend so much time on a pile that will be looked at in 0.2 seconds. I get bummed out by this a lot, Lindsay. I get bummed out when I read specific comments like Solanine. I don't know if anybody's read the comic Solanine. It's a manga actually. If anybody's read the manga Solanine, it's very good. But the amount of detail that I almost just want to go out to my bookshelf and grab it and open up literally any page. The amount of detail and some of the backgrounds in Solanine is like frustrating to me because I'm like, this looks like it took all day, and this is one panel, and that they don't even use that background again. It's not like it ever shows up again. It's wild, wild stuff. Um, yeah, Berserk is also Solanine Berserk. Anybody read Claymore? That's why I like to reread comics and manga and spend more time the second time around. That's good. Good on you. Art appreciation. I get overly excited for detailed background images. I'm not going to talk about detailed background images anymore in this stream, but I will say that I said this before about a week ago, but I watched some Netflix anime called Great Pretenders, and it's been a long time since I've like fallen in love with backgrounds, and the backgrounds in that anime are like so I mean I'm sure there's really technical and boring visual art terminology for exactly what they're doing in that show and the backgrounds, but the backgrounds are like some of the most engaging and eye-catching without being distracting backgrounds I've ever seen, like, period. Yeah, the art style, the coloring in it, like I had like a whole like thing where I tried to ask another artist, and she was like, I was just like the colors. For me, as not a visual artist, all I could see when I was looking at the show is I was like, the colors make no sense to me. I was like, there's no reason why grass should be purple, and then I had a visual artist friend of mine explain exactly why it makes sense and how it's not random. They're not just putting random colors on stuff. And I was like, wow, this is something that as a musical artist I would never think about, but you're absolutely right. Like, I always think of shadows as being black, and I never think of them as being colored. But most shadows are colored. Very rarely are shadows actually black, and I didn't ever think about that. Anyways, I'm going to move on now from that Netflix anime conversation. I was disappointed that they didn't keep talking English and French and Japanese accents. Eddie says. Color theory is complicated, I agree. I I wasn't necessarily disappointed as much as I was. Maybe disappointed is the right word, actually, Eddie. When that happened, I was like, that's fine though. Yeah, I don't. I feel like I don't watch enough things to be critical because sometimes when I see something happen, I just assume that there's a good reason why. Wow, I'm so forgiving of. It's the same thing in games. I very, very rarely break down, especially like the visual, like something in a game has to be like very annoying for me to be like, I feel like there was a better way. For example, there's a game called Watam, Wattam. Nobody talks to me about this game. Every time I bring up this game to anybody, they're like, never heard of it. What is it? And it bothers me. But Watam is a good game. Play it, maybe. I don't know. It does give me a headache sometimes. That game is fun, but there's this one really. The camera is controlled by the shoulder buttons instead of the analog stick, which I feel like is such a relic of the past. We don't do that anymore. We haven't done that really since like PlayStation 2, maybe PlayStation 1 actually. Controlling a camera with R2 and L2, it makes the game so annoying at times. At times. But there's so much going on in the game that I'm like, I understand why they did that because if they took up it's just I understand. There's things about the game that are kind of annoying, but I totally get why they exist. So instead of complaining about the game, I'm usually like, I get it. I understand. For example, Genshin Impact, a game whose gacha system is very annoying. I get annoyed by it, but I'm always just like, it was a free game. So yeah, I get microtransactions. If you made like a game that's as big as Breath of the Wild, no, sorry, bigger than Breath of the Wild, and it's free. If Breath of the Wild was also free and multiplayer, I could see it having microtransactions. Anyways, yes, Eddie, I'm still playing it. Still playing it every now and then, for sure, for sure. I recently learned that you can make a layered outline in Clip Studio Paint, and it gives it the same visual style as Great Pretender backgrounds. I got so excited. Whoa. Maybe, maybe show me that later, actually, Lindsay, or like post that in the Discord or something. As somebody that knows nothing about visual art, but very much like the backgrounds in Great Pretender, I would like to know. I would like to know more. I like just rattling off chords, and sometimes it sounds good. Like when I was playing Scrumpty a second ago. I'm gonna stop calling it Scrumpty. From this point forward, I'm calling it. Now I'm calling it Scrumpty still. Instead of going up. And on an uh-oh note is a good way to end a chord progression. Eddie's just got tired of Photoshop. Liana says, I tried watching an anime supposedly about DJing last night. It was so terrible. Well, DJing is terrible, so an anime about it should also be terrible. Ooh. Yeah, I guess I probably should have asked which one, like Mobtown did. Which anime was this? What a sensation. One of the coolest sensations to me is drinking out of like a thermos when the thermos itself is really, really hot, but the liquid inside is really cold. And vice versa. Thermoses are pretty cool. Oh, I'm still fascinated by them. I'm fascinated by them. Even though I understand the science of it, it's never not impressive to me. Okay, that is satisfying. Oh, I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. If you can just, if you can like rattle off chords. It's called D4DJ, says Liana. Interesting. Ooh, Discord exclusives. That's kind of fun. If you can do that. That's interesting, man. God, context really is everything, isn't it? Even though I'm kind of tired of Genshin, says Eddie, I'm working on Dilute fan art. I'll share it once I'm done. Word up, Eddie. Yeah, post it in the Discord. I don't know. I'm not tired of that game. Isn't it interesting how we have different levels of patience depending on what area we're in, you know? Like, sometimes it makes sense logically. Like, for example, I'm not going to sit down and watch a 200 episode anime. I'm not even going to sit down and watch a 70 episode anime. But I have seen like over 300 episodes of Degrassi, like willingly as an adult. Like it is really weird. I try not to get too critical on other people that have like weird inequities like that because I definitely have them. I definitely have them. Sometimes trying to like dig into my own what's that word? Starts with H. Hypocrite. Hypocrisy. There it is. Dig into own like hypocrisies, trying to understand why you like one thing and don't like the other thing. Like why I really like macaroni salad, but I don't like macaroni and cheese. Do I like macaroni salad? Yeah, I like macaroni salad. My Genshin has been impacted. Oh, do you see it? Do you play it though, sir? Do you play it? That does sound like a dental thing. Having a Genshin that's impacted. You have to choose your battles. We don't have infinite time. Yeah, yeah, but I think that for me, I think that there is a my body, my body and mind is more is more I have less problem watching people do a thing for a very long time than I do watching cartoons do a thing for a long time. Usually when there's a cartoon, and I know the word cartoon, yeah, I'm gonna say animation. Usually when there's an animation that goes on for a really long time, I'm less inclined to get on board. When there's real people for whatever reason, I can watch it. I've seen a lot of shows that went on for seasons and seasons and seasons and seasons that were live action. And usually, with most animation things, I tap out after a while. Like, I tapped out of Steven Universe when it got too long for me. I tapped out of, it wasn't that Steven Universe was too long, I just didn't like it. But it was also long. But, for me, it's, I guess anything's long if you don't like it. Like a 90-minute movie can feel like weeks long if you're not enjoying yourself. Um, Oh, wait, hold on. I do not like gotcha games on principle, says Cyber. Even if they're beautifully animated and the best looking waifu anime game to come out of China for mobile phones in years, says Cyber. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I feel like I can get more out of other types of games. This is fair. This is very fair. I'm an animator, so I watch cartoons and hours, and I feel like a breathe, bro. Forget to breathe, bro. Jesus Christ, Eddie. Um, hmm. I haven't heard the term gotcha game still this week, says Lindsay. Um, I'm glad, Mobtown, that you got a six smoothie. You got a six smoothie mix. For me, I actually agree with Cyber. I mean, it sounds hypocritical, right? Because I'm playing Genshin Impact. I don't like gotcha games. However, I will play a game. If a game says, you don't have to give me any of your money. If a game says, you don't have to give me any of your money if you want to progress through the game, I'll say, okay. Like, for example, something like Apex Legends, I guess. Maybe not the best example. What's another example of a game that I did not pay for that I currently play? That could cost money if I chose to pay. Um, I mean, technically, I'm playing that Need for Speed Payback game, right? It was one of the monthly games. I mean, yeah, it was one of the PlayStation monthly games, Cyber. And so it's like, if I want to get like cool new gear for my car, I can like win races and then spend in-game money on them, or I can, pull out my credit card and then spend U.S. dollars on them, or I can just play the game. I can just play the game and still beat it and still get the stuff out of it, but maybe I don't get the cool flame decal that I wanted, or maybe I don't get the sick spoiler, I guess, that I wanted. All aesthetic things, right? It doesn't make the game easier necessarily. It just makes the game prettier if you are somebody like that. I can play those games, Cyber. But I know there are some games where if you don't spend money, the game becomes difficult to play, if that makes sense. I guess they're like when people say pay to play, I suppose. Like I know there are also games where it's like if you don't spend money, you might not be able to beat it. I remember that being a big problem with EA. People were saying EA was guilty of that. I don't really play a lot of EA games, so I'm not familiar from experience, but I know that was a thing. Those games I don't like to play. But I feel like there's this really weird line between gotcha games and I guess because gotcha games you're paying for a gamble, paying for like loot crates, whereas something like Overwatch, you're just paying for what you see on the screen. You know what you're buying. I think. I don't know. Basically, I don't spend money on game cyber when. Well, that sounds wild. If a game has microtransactions in it, I don't pay for them. And before, where that seemed like a really rare thing, it was like easy to avoid. But now I feel like it's very common. Like 50% of the games I play usually have some form of like pay to get blank skin in it or something. You know? Yeah. But I mean, I pay for games. Like I paid Ghost of Tsushima this year. I paid for that. I pay for games that cost money. I guess it's as simple as that. I pay for games that cost money. But if the game is free to acquire, I usually don't blow a lot of money on stuff in it. Sky, for example, is a game that is free, but I did buy like a season pass or something because the game is very good and it was free. But it wasn't necessarily like buying a bunch of skins. It was like a one-time thing. Hmm. A few years ago, people hated the idea of DLC. Now it's the norm. For sure, Eddie. For sure. Mm, mm, winning without giving money is part of the fun for me. That's same, Jesse? Same? The Cyber says the devs who make these games are banking on the free-to-play aspect to get you to play them. That's fair. That's fair. Make that money, I suppose. I think it's weird, Cyber, because there are a lot of people that are like I guess at risk of spending a lot of money on the game. Um, if it's like some small indie studio like Sky, like the people that made Sky, I'm like, oh, I'll give them like money for a season pass because this game is dope. But if it's something like Genshin Impact, I don't want to start using terms like whales and stuff in here, but there are people that are paying a lot of money, you know, on things like Fortnite every day. There are people that are spending a lot of money on Genshin Impact every day. And so I'm sure the Genshin Impact developers are making plenty of money. And so they don't really need mine. And since I don't need to spend money on like the sweet waifus, I guess, in order to beat the game, I just simply don't. Um, I'm trying to think of a game. Cyber, do you have an example of a game? Because I don't really play. For example, Genshin Impact is the first gotcha game I've ever played. Are there? Can you think of any examples of games where like paying in the game is important? Does that question does that even make any sense? I don't like spending too much money repetitively, basically, says Mobtown. I feel that. I spent $5 on Genshin, says Eddie. Word up, word up. Hmm. Pay to win, says there. Yeah, yeah, I guess pay to win. Once I played a brief virtual crane game, says Leon. Only a free daily try, and my brother saw me and ended up wasting $60 on. Jesus Christ. One could argue League of Legends is like that. I've never played League of Legends. I think I've talked about it in the stream how I literally have no idea what League of Legends even really is. I don't know how the game is played. Um, you have to pay for new characters. And there are hundreds of characters now. Hmm. It's an interesting... Lindsay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many characters are in it. You cannot get the characters for free at all, says Eddie. You can't get the characters for free. The gimmick is that when a new character is introduced, they're usually overpowered. Ah, so maybe you can get some easy wins by paying for the new character. Word. Ah. Hmm. These certain ones you gotta pay. Oh. Hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is so interesting. Yeah, you gotta monetize. You gotta make money. At the end of the day, you gotta make money, right? And so, whatever a dev needs to do to make their money. But I think the way my brain works, is you have to get me coming in the door. You have to get me coming in the door, right? Like if Disneyland was like, hey, Omni, getting in the gate is free. Getting on all the rides are free, but we do charge a lot for the food inside Disneyland and for these like photo ops. I'd be like sick, and I would go into Disneyland for free, and I would do only the free rides. Like if there was a specific ride, it was like, oh, it costs money to get on Space Mountain today. I'd be like sick, not gonna get on that ride. I'm gonna go get on all the free rides, and I'm gonna get out of here. But thank you so much for your hospitality, Mr. Mouse. And then I would leave. I think that I think that I am. I don't know if I'm in the majority or the minority of people like that, but I know that there's quite a bit of people who, even if getting in the door is free, they're like, I must cop everything. I got to get all this stuff. Um, and since that's not particularly my way, I don't feel limited by the gotcha mechanic in Genshin Impact. It just, to me, it feels like a sick game that has like a cool story and really good gameplay. And if you want if you want like extra waifus, I'm not gonna say that word anymore in the stream. If you want extra characters, um, that literally don't have seemingly any impact on the storyline, they're they're basically avatars. If you want more avatars, spend some money, I guess, on it, because I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, but I'm just not one of those people, so I don't feel the game ceases to be a gotcha game for me, and instead just kind of turns into like an action RPG. Ugh, the trash man is here. Trash Tuesday, Trash Tuesday. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, waifu unironically, it hurts. It hurt coming out of my mouth probably just as much as it hurt going into your ears, Lindsay. Genshin is an interesting diversion in the tactic of free-to-play, because by and large, there's no need to opt in until arguably later in the game. The game is presented very much as an RPG with an actual story, which is way more than what you'd expect for a free-to-play game. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. And, okay, so Genshin Impact put out this survey recently. Like, there's an email system in the game. You have like an email account, and they sent out a survey where you had to answer all these questions. It was really funny because they were like, how do you feel about the abyss? Because there's like a thing that arguably Cyber, you would need extra characters to be able to play through, because there's like a secret dungeon that doesn't really do anything or have any bearing on the story, but it's just like difficulty for the sake of difficulty. It's almost like the Colosseum in Kingdom Hearts. Whereas, like, you can just like, go and fight a bunch of baddies, but it doesn't really matter. And that portion of the game, I never play because there's no story involvement in it. It isn't even mentioned in the story. It's like yeah. You get rewards. You can get like gems and like spoils, but like you can also get like gems and spoils by doing anything else in the game. So it's not even necessarily like it's not necessary. But there is that, in the game. I can see somebody complaining that that is something that you arguably couldn't beat without having better or more characters, but um, I'm not that person. I'm not the secret dungeons person anymore. I did that. The last time I did secret dungeons was Final Fantasy 15. I think I might be done with that now. I think I might have got it all out of my system. Ooh. Am I hiding from the trash man? No. No. I was thinking maybe I could like block out sound more, but I don't think it's working. Sorry, Leanne. Yeah, this one's extra loud because he doesn't pick up the bins. He picks up the actual dumpsters, and so it's a little bit louder. Part of the fun is also to fight in the wild and having to deal with the terrain, says Eddie. But the dungeon is just flat stone. Yeah, it's super whack. I don't freaking care for it. But I can't think of any games I played this year, guys. Was Ghost of Tsushima the only game I played? I don't know. Gaming's weird right now, guys. I'm gonna talk about games for a second, just for a second. Um, yeah, I know, Lindsay. I know. I'm gonna fix it though today. I'm gonna fix the curve today. I'm very excited for that project that's going to be annoying. You played Among Us, says Eddie. I have. Only ones I've played was Tycho, Demo, Tatsuji. What's Demo? Anywho, I was actually thinking about this recently because with the PS5 looming, with the PS5's looming presence, I was like, are there any PlayStation 4 games left I even want to play? Like, have they even announced anything that I'm like looking forward to? And the short answer is no. Short answer is no. Oh, piano rhythm game. That sounds fun. Beautiful soundtrack and art style. Six, 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 six. I don't know how I played that last time. I bought, played, and dropped Animal Crossing and Project Diva Mega Mix. Oh, I did play Project Diva. Was that this year? I guess it was this year. This video's been very long. I did Project Diva, I did a Control DLC, I did Ghost of Tsushima, and one other game that I'm forgetting for some reason. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, gaming is weird now. I was just, I think I watched like a video, a YouTube video of like an angry nerd. No, I'm not trying to offend him, whoever this strange man was, but he was like complaining about, he was like a doomhead. You guys know what doomhead is? Like one of those people that's like, gaming is bad now because the free-to-play model is ruining gaming. Or they're like, Nintendo has this Mario thing that's only available for a limited time. It's ruining the industry. This is a bad precedent, everyone. You laugh now, but soon you'll be clutching your babies for dear life saying, Nintendo, please, please bring back Donkey Kong. And we won't have anything to do. Everybody's going to be very, very sad. But I didn't necessarily share his fear of the death of the industry as much as I was kind of like wowed that gaming did change a lot. And I think that I was just so sleep, you know? Everything was such a gradual shift that I didn't um everything was such a gradual shift that I didn't realize how different things were. Yeah, you're right, Eddie. People did used to hate DLC. I was people that was like, this sucks. And then I remember when Spider-Man had DLC, and I was like, yes, please. And when Control had DLC, and I was like, I would like more. Oh, last DLC. Oh, I would like a fourth one, please. It did turn into a thing that I was like willing to be down with. And on the surface, I do love DLC. I think that'll, and this is a case to case basis, right? It's a case to case base, but in a lot of cases, people are like, DLC implies that you have sold an unfinished game. While this can feel true for a lot of games, sometimes DLC feels good and necessary. For example, the game Overcooked every year releases like a seasonal DLC where it's like, it's Halloween, here are some levels where you have to make Halloween snacks, or it's Christmas, here's some extra levels where you make Christmas things. Like I wouldn't necessarily want that at launch, you know? I wouldn't want Christmas rolled into it. And then somebody else could say, well then why not have those DLC be free updates given to the game? And on that case, I say, well, if we're gonna pay $60 for a game that ends up having the content equivalents of 5 games after 3 years, then should that mean that the game should cost 5 times the amount it costs at launch? Or are games getting cheaper per content? What is the dollar per content? What if we charged for games depending on how many gigs they were? What if it was like $1 a gig? $10 a gig? No, no, $1 a gig, $1 a gig. It's hard, right? DLC is tricky, says Cyber, because when it's horse armor or already on the disc, you pay for a key to unlock it. That's an issue. Whoa. I didn't know that was a thing, actually. It can already be on the disc? Leon says I can't be mad about games when there's more aspects about reality to be mad about. Yeah, we have to pick our battles. My battle right now is the music industry. I will be mad at the music industry for the foreseeable future. That's my problem. Maybe if I was a game developer, I would be more mad about games. But I'm only a game consumer. Alas, I'm only a game consumer. I'm just indifferent to DLC, says Mobtown. Both those examples I mentioned are things. That's interesting. Season passes season passes, like battle passes and stuff like that, like people buying those things. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, man, wow. Games. I do like game conversations from time to time when it's more so industry focused and not just about a specific game. It's so much more complicated than that in a lot of cases, says Jesse. Like, it makes a lot of sense to put things on the disc, but that doesn't mean that it's actually finished. Then the process of them finishing the game to shipping the game represents a functional downtime for development. Oh my god. Oh my god. 4 times everyone would just get laid off, but now it represents a period where people can work, usually more crunch time, to get more things out the gate. This is true. Remember when Street Fighter 10 Tekken came? Oh, Street Fighter. I said Street Fight 10 Tekken. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, Eddie. There's no Roman numerals. Remember when Street Fighter and Tekken came out, people got mad because they found out DLC content was already in the game but locked. Oh. I see what you're saying now. Where it's like, yo, I technically bought it. I bought the data. You're just hiding it behind a paywall. I can see people being more upset about that. On principle, not necessarily because there's anything different that's happening, but just maybe on principle, like it's already on the disc, I want it. Yeah. Makes it seem like the effort expended after the game release when they know. Oh, no, it's more of an ethical thing where it's like we didn't actually work to make this extra thing. It's been done. And not only has it been done, but you technically own it. Well, you're in possession of it, but you still must buy it. So few programs are ready at launch, and games are larger now than they've ever been. It's a very good conversation. It's not great to mix up devs with publishers. Very different motivations. For sure, for sure. You don't need to tell this to me, Jesse. You don't need to tell me this. I've talked to my fair share of publishers, and I think that a lot of people get publishers mixed up with devs just because their name and logo are like also on the game. And sometimes they'll do both. For example, with the team that made Overcooked, since I was just talking about Overcooked, is actually a developer and a publisher because they publish other games, but they developed and published Overcooked. It's kind of weird. They published a game called Moving Out that is very similar mechanically to Overcooked, and I have my suspicions that some of the dev team from Overcooked actually went to and made their own separate team to make Moving Out. And then since they were already homies with the Overcooked publisher, they just got it published by the same thing. I have no actual relationships with these people or ways to back up the information I just said. I feel like that was probably the case. It's interesting though. Here's how I like DLC. How do you like your DLC? I like my DLC. One of the greatest examples of DLC for me that I played, that I enjoyed, that I would have played more of, is Spider-Man and Control. These were both very big, complete games. Very complete. Beginning, middle, end, credits roll. I feel full. Now I can run around the map and, I don't know, save people from stuff or kill people depending on which game I'm playing. Both of these games had, I'm pretty sure, three separate DLC. I think Spider-Man had two or three. I know Control had three. And the the DLC expanded the world and lore in a way that, like, oh, this is cool extra stuff. It reminded me of almost like if you're looking at a movie and you look at the deleted scenes. It was like, here's some extra stuff that maybe expand on the world, maybe enhance your appreciation of the piece of art you just saw, maybe give you some extra information, some side character stuff. It's not necessary, um, but it's good. And for people that really liked the game, this could be great for them. That just want more. That's the type of DLC I like. The type of DLC I do not like is cosmetic things like special colored armor or a specific golden gun or stuff like that. This the DLC I don't really like. I like DLC that adds story and narrative um, to a complete plot. And so Spider-Man was really great because for me, honestly, and this is gonna make me sound like a freaking like a whale, but they could have kept releasing Spider-Man DLC every month, and I would have kept buying it probably because I love comic books, and comic books basically did that same thing to me for years. So weeding out a story like here's an episode, here's another volume, here's another issue, because Spider-Man has loads of like they could have just kept rolling out like, oh, Carnage is here now. Oh, Venom's also in the game now. Oh, Green Goblin's here. Oh, the Avengers stopped by for whatever. Oh, Fantastic Four is here. It's so much rich like lore that they could have just kept doling stuff out, and it wouldn't have felt forced to me. It would have just felt like more adaptational material for a really really long book. But I think for something else where it's more cosmetic or more aesthetic additions, I don't particularly spend money on it. I'm not mad about it. I know, but I mean, it's just not necessarily for me. If I can play the game without spending money to get Darth Maul or whatever at launch, I will play the game without Darth Maul. Believe you me. Hey, what's up, Omar? Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. I hope everything is well with you. I hope you're doing fine this Tuesday. I need more Control DLC, says Jesse. Wait, Jesse, did you play Control? I can't tell if you're just mimicking me or if you are also expressing opinions similar to mine. But yeah, Control is really, really good. For anybody who has not played Control, it's a very good game. It does make me a little nauseous when I play it. Sometimes the motion blur is like a little much at times, but Control may have been one of the most solid games I've played in the past 5 years. Um, anyways, that was me a few years back with CS:GO. Those boxes, I spent so much money for it. Hmm. Thank you guys for reminding me I need to pay my rent still. Um, Probably not going to be spending much money on games. So, have you played Breath of the Wild? I haven't, Omar. I have not played this game. I do not own a Switch, so I could not play this game if I wanted to. And I don't want to, actually. I actually don't want to play this game. But I usually have the excuse that when somebody asks me if I've played Breath of the Wild, I just go, I don't have a Switch, so I can't play it. They're like, do you want Animal Crossing? I'm like, ooh, I can't do it. Can't do it, guys. I don't have the necessary gear. Yeah, I've played anime Breath of the Wild. Hey, what's up, kid? Um, I don't like Zelda games, guys. It took me a long time to get to that realization. It took me a long time to get there, but I'm here. I am. I love Breath of the Wild, but it's not for everyone. So I think that Breath of the Wild is probably an amazing game, and Cyber would argue that it is for everyone. I would argue that I actually would like Breath of the Wild because I like Genshin Impact, and they're the same game as we talked about before. I think that Breath of the Wild, I would probably have fun at some point playing it. I just strongly dislike Zelda. The what started off as actual no love even, no misguided appreciation, has evolved into apathy, and now has even gone on the other side of like, I don't like this thing. Um, but not because I think it's bad, because I think that it's particularly not for someone like me. I've come to that. In the same way that The Sims is not for someone like me. Probably an amazing game. You can't be that successful and be a bad game. But like, I cannot play The Sims. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. Jesse says it's still very much a Zelda game. It's not. Omar says it's not very much like other Zelda games, but I get where you're coming from. Yeah, a lot of the things about Zelda I like, honestly. When it comes to gameplay aspects of it, um, something that an issue that I have with Zelda, which is weird, you know. I think it's just because there's so many of those games. It's almost like the issue I have with Mario, or it's like I just don't want to play anymore. Do you ever just not want to play anymore? Do you ever put a game down? I mean, I know this is true because literally Eddie said it happened with Genshin Impact. Do you ever just put a game down and then you think about it? Maybe a week later, you're like, oh yeah, that game. And then you're like, I just don't care. Right? Like, nothing in that game's story is liking it up and playing it. There's nothing more for me to do. I don't want to do it. I have played Osu before, Sam, although I'm not very good at it and I don't play it regularly. I'm sure those two are related. I'm not very good at it because I don't play it very regularly. TJ made it around with his Discord. It's super fun to play on. Says Omar. Word up. Hello, Kyo. Oh, it's Kyo Blast now, so Kyo, yeah. See, I noticed the small changes. The things that are compelling about Breath of the Wild is the unparalleled feeling of exploring and uncovering the land for it that is completely foreign to you, and things that should be interesting to all gamers. Yes. Yes. I'm not going to bring up Genshin Impact again in this stream, but the last thing I'll say about it is one of the that's half of why that's 40% of why I like Genshin Impact. I just like being able to explore a really, really big map and like see things happening, like stumble upon like things happening in a world that actually feels like it's alive is really cool. But that's only 40%, you know. If that's all it was, I don't know that I would be able to play it. Oh crap! What's he doing here? Anyways, what was he talking about? I'm super into exploring, says Lindsay. Word up. I think the freedom can stress some people out, though. Definitely, the first game I put down was Final Fantasy X. Was like, oh, I'm not having fun anymore. Jesse, we might be friends. Oh, we might be friends now. Jesse, this isn't the first thing you've said in the stream that I've felt very connected to. I'm not going to slam Final Fantasy X because I don't think it was a bad game. Like, for example, Kyo Blast loves it. And there's a lot of people I know where it is their favorite Final Fantasy. where when I was younger and maybe a little bit more argumentative, I used to like take up arms against. But I guess Final Fantasy's X's biggest flaw for me is that I just didn't care, and I don't think that that's the game's fault. I think that playing that game always felt like a chore. I just didn't care about any of the characters, and it also wasn't particularly fun for me to play. The best thing about that game for me personally was the music, and music sometimes isn't enough for me to turn on a game and grind away. The way Breath of the Wild handles is very friendly to newcomers, and it's kind of a drop-in explore. You got this word up, Cyber. An exploration game. I'm boring because my favorite game of all time is Portal 2. I don't think that that's boring. I do think that is a very popular opinion. Portal 2 is like ground. Whoa, wait, Portal 2. Whoa, never mind. Take that back immediately. I was thinking of Portal 1. That's interesting. Portal 2 was very good, though. It's a very good game. It's a very good game. I'm not going to knock you for making that your favorite game. I have very fond memories of playing that game. I played that game from beginning to end while eating Domino's pizza. They had just released their like Brooklyn style pizza. It was like flat. It was disgusting. It was super greasy. But I remember distinctly doing that in like Phoenix. It was in Phoenix. It's cool stuff. Cool stuff. Good times. If Genshin Impact is that similar to Breath of the Wild, then I have to get it. Well, I haven't played Breath of the Wild, so the only reason I have hesitation when you say that is like I don't want you to play Genshin Impact because you think it's that similar to Breath of the Wild, and then be like, this is nothing like Breath of the Wild, because I can't vouch for having played both games. All I'll say is that I know people compare them, and they do look similar, and they have a lot of similar mechanics, and Genshin Impact has a huge map. Anyways, video games are old, says Cyber. Indeed, you'll draw a lot of parallels, Lindsay, but it's very different still. Thank you, Jesse, for putting my rambling into a much more concise and understandable comment. I think some of the stuff that Breath of the Wild is going to start being very common in action RPGs, like they were in fun. You know, yeah, actually, Jesse, because Genshin Impact isn't even the only Breath of the Wild clone. Like, people are already comparing that other thing that, like, that Nordic Greek gods or whatever game, they're like, oh, it's like Greek god Breath of the Wild. I think that in the past 5-ish years, no, more than 5 years, I guess in the past decade of gaming, we have made a lot of new archetypes, right? Like everybody's just like, it's kind of like Dark Souls. It's like Soulsborne. It's a Soulsborne game, and it's like I don't remember ever hearing that term, but like now Soulsborne is just a genre of games. I'm seeing so many Soulsborne and roguelikes and Metroidvanias, and not that Metroid or Castlevania are new games, but it's like there are these titles where we don't even know what to call it, so we just call it what the first thing we saw of it was, and calling anything that's like open world, exploration friendly, very pretty, and cartoonesque, it's like, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild, but anime. Or it's like Breath of the Wild, but with Greek gods. Or it's like Breath of the Wild, but with machine guns. I think there's just going to be that going on for a long time. Like how everybody called every like open world city sandbox GTA. I think we're still actually doing that. I think we're still like, hey, it's like GTA but like medieval. It's kind of like GTA but with vampires. Like we're still doing that. And I think Breath of the Wild is just the newest maybe example of that we have. Anyways, Metroidvania. People need genres, says Jesse. And before someone makes Breath of the Wild with machine guns. Ooh. Would I play Breath of the Wild with machine guns? I would play Breath of the Wild with... would that work, actually? No, I guess one of the defining things about Breath of the Wild is all the nature. I was about to say, could you make like Breath of the Wild, but it's cyberpunk? I don't even know what that would look like, though, because I feel like one of the defining things about Breath of the Wild and its clones are that there's a lot of nature, and it's very, like, vibrant, not so dark and gloomy and hazy and smoggy. I would play Breath of the Wild with Zelda characters. Oh. It's called Breath of the Wild. Ugh. I'm glad Zelda exists. I'm glad Zelda exists. I just wish I liked it. There was supposed to be a Zelda Alien game at one point. Word up. That sounds like a thing. Have you played Hollow Knight? I have played Hollow Knight, Sam. I do like that game a lot. Hollow Knight is a game that I'm actually surprised I like because I don't typically like games like that. I think I liked Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight hit specifics for me, I guess, in that it was challenging, but not punishing. I don't know. Maybe this is more informing on my playstyle, but because some people did think it was punishing. I thought it was very challenging, but not punishing. Hollow Knight is going to be free this month for PSN. I get to play it finally. Ooh. Word. Yeah, that's a good one. The selection of things you vehemently dislike is very funny to me, isn't it? Isn't it? Zelda. What's another thing I don't like? Games where you farm. Any game where it becomes like a farming simulator. Oh, one thing that hurts is Fullmetal Alchemist. It shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't hurt, Lindsay. I don't like most anime that people like. If that makes sense. Like if there was like a top 10 list that like we let the weebs of the world make, chances are I like 3 out of 7, maybe 2 out of 3 out of 7. Wow, Omni the math. Chances are I like 3 and hate 7, or I like 2. I'd say good money is that I like 2 out of 10 of like the most liked anime out, and then I will say 2 of them I haven't even seen probably. I'm not fond of Full Metal Alchemist myself, says Mobtown. There's a lot of things I don't like, guys, when it comes to anime. We'd be here all day. The amount of anime that I actually like is very, very short. I feel like this is how conversation usually goes. I'll be talking to somebody and they'll be like, oh, I hate this anime. This anime's trash. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it that much. And they're like, yeah, I wish it was like blank. And I go, oh, I actually don't like blank. And they're like, what? You don't like Yu Yu Hakusho? You don't like Inuyasha? How? You don't like Fullmetal Alchemist? But you've seen Brotherhood, right? I mean, I don't know if you're talking about Brotherhood. And I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't like any of it. And I'm like, what? But that's a class. You don't like Naruto, but certainly you like. And it's never a thing I liked. It's never a thing. It's never a thing I liked. I realized that as a child I used to put Japan on a pedestal, but the older I get, the more I realize that, nah, says Eddie. Well, the thing is, there's a lot of anime that I actually was pretty okay with as a kid, or I even liked. I actually used to like Cardcaptor Sakura. But going back and looking at basically any Clamp anime, I don't like them. And that's not all just because I'm older now and my tastes have changed, because there's a lot of things that I can go back and look at now that my tastes have changed, and I can still see the merit in like, yeah, this was like pretty good. This was pretty cool. And Clamp doesn't do it for me. And Cardcaptor Sakura, like, I don't like it. I don't like FMA. I don't like Inuyasha anymore. I don't like Rurouni Kenshin. Samurai X. Get it out of here. I don't like it. I don't like it. People are so argumentative for no reason sometimes, says Omar. I mean, I try not to be like, you know. Usually when people don't like a thing that I like, I usually give them the benefit of the doubt, actually. When somebody's like, hey, that thing you don't like, that thing you like, I don't like it. I usually am like, I get it. It's like kind of whack. I have weird tastes in it. It's like a very specific spot for me. Liana says Clamp had such good character design, though. I'm not gonna touch that one. I'm gonna agree with you. I'll just agree with you. I'll just agree with you and say they had good character design. I think that Clamp, though, I can't tell if you're making a joke or not. I'm gonna say you're being serious. I think Clamp had good character design, but they only had like 3, and that's not me being a jerk. I just feel like once I saw like 2 of their characters, I saw all of them. Like I can only look at like everybody kind of looked the same. I'm not being. I know that sounds mean. I mean, I'm not an animator. I know it's really hard. That's not me. But like, yo, like all Clamp characters look exactly the same to me. Maybe something's wrong with my eyes. It's just Feedback Guitar 2, Cyber. There's Feedback Guitar 1, and then there's 2. I don't. I don't. I actually don't know what the difference is. Mm-hmm. They got all the use they could out of those character designs. Maybe that's what it is. I shouldn't be whack. I get all the same use out of the same sound. Somebody could be like, "Yo, I feel like I like Omni Boy's music, but he just uses the same like four sounds over and over," which is not true, but pretty valid takedown of my music. So I guess I am Clamp. I am the musical Clamp. Ava loves Card Captor, by the way. Shame she isn't here. A shame. Indeed a shame. I think that Ava actually brought up Card Captor in the stream once. And I remember mentioning a very specific episode of Card Captor. I vividly remember the episode of Card Captor where she has to like capture this stupid monster in like an ice rink and she's like ice skating. It's really dumb. But I remember having a very, very short exchange with Ava because of my Card Captor opinions. I feel like I should clarify. It doesn't actually hurt me that you don't like FMA. People like different things. No, yeah, I know. I know, you're just saying that. You're just saying that. I'm trying to think of something. Everything, okay, there are things that you like that you almost immediately, not disqualify, but you like a thing. Let's say you like, and it's not the same as a guilty pleasure. It's more so of a confusing pleasure, like a nonsensical pleasure. You're like, I like this thing, but there is a laundry list of reasons why I shouldn't, but I like it. It's like it's still very cool to me. And I don't know why that is, or maybe I know exactly why that is, but for whatever reason, there is a long list of things that anything else that has this list of things, I probably would write it off. But for whatever reason, right here, it's like, I love it. Goodbye, Mobtown. Tell Mama I says hello. Hmm. That's me with stale gummy candy. Don't at me. What the heck? I was going for media stuff, but stale gummy candy. I'm not gonna make fun of you. I'm not taking. I'm not making fun. I ate half of a bag of gummy clusters a couple of days ago. Omar, I don't know if you know what those are. I don't care if you know what those are, but I can't finish the bag. I almost bought 2 bags of it, and I said, you know what, Omni, you're probably not going to be able to finish 1 bag, and I'm glad I didn't buy 2 because Jesus, it's horrible. It feels horrible. Um. Anyways, my mom loves you. She thinks you're adorable and talented. Oh wow, that's actually a really nice thing. I like moms. I like moms. Tell your mom I says hey. Says you'd be a good friend for me. Oh. I have a really funny story, but please remind me next time you're in Momptown to tell you about somebody's mom thinking I would be a good friend for them. Please remind me, because I know you have to go. And it's a longer story than I think you have time for. Oh, I do have a Discord, Omar. I should have the Discord link saved to a clipboard so I can just press a button and it would go into the chat. Um, Suburban moms. What was it? Suburban women, please like me. Word out, mob down, word out. Yeah, I know it sounded awful. I have a specific friend. No, never mind. Whatever. I'll talk to you about it later, Momptown. figured out why it's called feedback guitar, Cyber. I'm not hitting the notes long enough. You have to hit them for a long time. Then the feedback starts. That's the trick of the instrument. I thought it was just that. I thought it was stupid. Turns out, it's, well, it's still pretty stupid, but I realized why it gets its name. Because there is feedback. How do you have feedback for a note that's already too high? I can barely hear it. Maybe I'm too old. It's like a dog whistle type thing. Anyways, hey, what's up, Crow? I feel like I was talking about something, but it don't matter. It don't matter. I don't have my smoothie today, so I'm low on fuel. I forgot to prep bananas today, guys. I'm not really qualified to talk about the changes in the video game industry and how free to play, pay to win, got your game, got your money, DLC. I'm not really like equipped to talk about all that stuff, but what I am equipped to talk about is the music industry. And I feel like the music industry is going to a very scary, dark place right now. And everybody's scared. Nobody knows what to do. And nobody's getting money. And everybody's like, I'm going back to physical releases only because Spotify is stealing all my money from me. And then Spotify put out this email recently that was like, would you like to be in a playlist? Well, give me more of your royalties. So Spotify does this thing where it already takes some of your royalties anyway because I don't know. There's a really, really cool and accurate pimp analogy in here, but I don't want to pull the stream there. So I'll just say that Spotify takes a pretty large sum of the money that your music makes. And now Spotify has a cool new system where if you give them even more of your royalties, they consider to put you in a playlist. Isn't that cool? Yeah, you trade royalties for playlist positioning. Isn't that fun, Jesse? Doesn't that sound like a freaking dream? So cool. I love this stream. Yeah, it's great. It's marvelous. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going. That's where music is going. But you know who gets to be in the playlist? Freaking like a League of Legends character that has a new song. That's cool. I love being paid in exposure, says Omar. I actually got paid in exposure pretty recently in my life, and not gonna forget it anytime soon. Not gonna forget that. Not gonna forget that. Somebody in Long Beach, a pretty big TikToker, wanted to pay me an exposure, and I was so tired. I didn't even have the energy to send an angry email. I was just like, "Nah, I'm sorry, guy. Sorry." I just said sorry. I said sorry. I don't know if he's gonna use somebody else's song, but I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired of like a 17 or like a 19-year-old kid on TikTok being like, "Hey, can you make a song for me? I'm thinking about singing and stuff now." And I go, "Yep, that'll cost money." And they're like, "I mean, I don't know about that." And they'll screenshot you their follower count on TikTok, and it's like, bro, do you know what a landlord is? Do you know what a bill looks like? Of course not. Of course you don't. Anyways, I can't pay my landlord and TikTok followers. Please remind me to pay my rent today, by the way, which is going to cost money, not followers. I really do love that song. I'm playing with the idea of this song having a specific place in the stream. I just don't know where. For as many people who get dragged on social media for that now, I'm surprised so many idiots still do it. Yeah, right? was half a joke, Lindsay. Yeah, I don't know who disliked the video. Cyber? I want to do I want to do ET, guys. I want to make ET. John Williams, wherever you are, is he dead? He's not dead, is he? Nah, he's still alive. Anyways, wherever he is, I'm gonna do an ET. I just need to know a little bit more about Harmony, and I'm gonna do an ET, and he's gonna see it. How many got haters now? What are you talking about, Omar? A lot of people hate me. Man, people hate me, bro. Happy No Knowledge November. Oh. I simply do not want to know anymore. I've thought enough. I do not think, therefore I do not am. Ooh, that's pretty good, actually. I like it. Um, 88, and he's still alive. Word, Crow. No, thank you. Thank you. What do you mean no ET? What are you talking about? Yes, ET. Yeah, I don't know. Omar, yeah, uh, yeah, people don't like me. I think that it's a smaller group of people, but I should say at least the people that don't like me, I don't really know who they are for the most part. Like personally, I know what their Twitter ads are. Where is ET? Where is he? Actually Crow. I don't remember how that movie ends. He goes home. Screw that movie. Actually, the only thing that movie did for me is teach me about what Reese's Pieces were. Let me know that Drew Barrymore was a thing, which I'm pretty grateful for. She's pretty cool, and it had that song in it. It had that really good song in it. I don't think I've seen E.T. all the way through. Nah, you're not missing much. All I remember is the bicycle flying. Jesus Christ, Liana. What? So you remember the freaking cover of the movie? You remember the? You remember the movie poster? To be fair, I'm not really making fun of Liana. Here's what I remember of E.T. I remember a little boy. I remember Drew Barrymore. I remember Reese's Pieces, a trail of them, and I remember men in hazmat suits. I remember Boy Ride Bike. I remember Boy Fly. I remember, I think, Spaceship with silhouette of people or aliens. I remember E.T. Phone Home. I remember Elliot. I remember Glowing Finger. I think his finger could heal people. I think he had finger healing, and he also had telepathy. I think those were his only two. Those were his only two ultimates. I don't think he had any other like. I don't even remember how they find ET. I don't remember how they find him. I don't remember a lot of stuff, but I do remember more of Mac and Me and how that movie was very fun, arguably more entertaining than ET. Kid got drunk from alien drinking beer. Whoa, were they like connected? I remember guns got replaced with walkie-talkie. ET looked like burnt chicken nugget. I don't like that. I don't like that comment, Crow. I don't like that comment. I've never seen a burnt chicken nugget, actually. I don't know. I guess you can burn them. I've just never seen a burnt one. Interesting. Do you know what I'm trying to do, Crow? Do you know what the music thing I'm trying to do? E.T. has a theme in it that goes. Extraterrestrial, and it goes when it goes higher the second time. I'm trying to figure out a way to make a melody that has like a baked-in key change in it, and I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do. Crap! Now I really can't hear it. I'm just making a joke about Harry Potter, but now I can't hear it. So good. I, in my musical existence on this planet, have not made anything that good. Bum bum ba 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 bum 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 ba ba bum bum bum. That's how. It's so good. It's so good, and I know exactly, half exactly. I know partially what's happening. That makes it so good. I just don't know how to do it yet myself in a way that doesn't sound like a complete rip of ET. You know what I'm saying? An example would be, let's do the Jurassic Park theme again. That's the first one, and the second one is. Yo, John Williams, all your music sounds the same, bro. Oh crap. What's the second? Jurassic Park? There it is. And the other one is. All your music sounds exactly the same, bro. I don't want anybody to ever tell me my music sounds the same. John Williams' music sounds the same. It's Jurassic Park. And the other Jurassic Park theme is. Whatever, who cares? We spent 30 minutes trying to remember your favorite J-Park theme, and now we can't do it. Yeah, whatever. I can't remember it. All I can remember is the main one. Your music does not sound the same, says Liana. I know that, but, you know, nobody else does. Somebody. Whoa, how sad. Sorry, that sounded sadder than I feel right now. Somebody on YouTube, which we're on right now, sent a message to me, and they were like, I feel like you could make really, really cool, like, chill, lo-fi music, but you're always making, like, really anime, like, cutesy stuff, like kawaii music, and that's really cool, but I just really wish you would break away from that style. And I swear to you not, guys, I drafted like 5 messages to this person, and I kept deleting it, and then my final resting message to them was, thank you so much for reaching out. I do really appreciate you for saying this. Here are some other things that I have actually made that might be to your liking. And I sent that to them to no reply. They have not replied to it. They've said nothing. I don't even know if they had any intention to listen to any more of my music. I think they were just being a YouTube person. I don't know, but one of the messages I deleted was just that I didn't send. It's not like I sent them and deleted them. Like I just didn't send them. But one of the messages I didn't send was just like, "Yo, I haven't made that type of music in like 4 years, bro." But I was like, "Whoa, what? Omni, where's all this fire coming from? 2020. It's been hard on all of us. Eat a Snickers. Come on, send this person something nice." And then one of the messages was just a bunch of links to other music, and I was like, "That's passive aggressive. Come on." They took the time to reach out to you. That's dope. Never underestimate how much effort it takes to just message people. I don't know if everybody's as like whack as I am, but it takes a lot of effort for me to just message anybody. So whenever anybody sends a message to me, I'm usually like, okay, they took some time out of their day. Let me try to do the same. Sometimes I fail, and for that I am sorry. Yo, bro, make the music I like is a really cool comment that a lot of my like YouTube comments could be boiled down to. But the point is, Liana, I know my music doesn't all sound the same. You know my music doesn't all sound the same. But I think that there are a lot of people that do think it sounds the same, and that's valid. A lot of it has glockenspiels in it. A lot of it has glockenspiels in it. Freaking John Williams, though, bro. Come on now. Come on, somebody. What's the Superman theme? It sounds just like all the rest of them. It sounds like it's just all the rest of them. Whatever. Who cares? John Williams, I love you. I almost said rest in peace. Sorry. I love you, John Williams. You're very talented and great, and your music has reached plenty alive. Mine being one of them. You think clamp characters are all the same? It's okay. Okay. Hold on. They are though. I'm not even saying that to be mean. Come on. Their torsos are like the length of my thumb, and then they're all legs with a giant head. Oh my god, and they all look the same. Sorry, I'm off of it. Clamp, I respect you, Clamp, and you did make something I liked. Didn't Clamp make like XXX Holic or XX Holic? I liked that. That was chill, I guess. So Clamp does make good stuff. I just, how long can the legs be? How long do the legs need to be? And Umbi says, I'm trying to be that artist everyone hates because nothing sounds the same. Trust me, Umbe. Crap hurts sometimes. Sometimes that hurts. I make a lot of inconsistent music, and It's like there's no winning. Either people think all my music sounds the same and they wish it sounded like Carmack, or there's somebody that's like, bro, I really like, I loved that one song you put out like 6 years ago. That stuff, that is my jam. Can you make that again? And I'm like, yo, I can't. When I made that song, I like liked Anime Expo. Okay, when I made that song, I was still like eating Nerds Rope. I don't know how to get in the creative space of somebody that eats Nerds Rope anymore because I ate a freaking gummy cluster and I almost had like a panic attack. So I guess candy isn't in it for me. Candy did change the way I made music. Everybody that makes music on drugs, like I guess shouts out to whatever you got going on because I used to make music on candy and I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. My brain is no longer being ran by sugar when I make music, and I think it has had some bearing on the sound of my music. I will never understand asking an artist to make something when it's not a commission, says Lindsay. I'm gonna say this, then we can actually start winding things down. But I watch movie review podcasts, and I watched movie review podcasts, and today, for the first time in the years I've been listening to several of them, the movie reviewer says, you know, my career path, because I do this podcast for a living, he was like, my career path is essentially pretty mean because I know that people want to hear me complain about movies. I know people want to hear me tear down movies. I know people love hearing hot takes and dramatic stuff. People like bringing things to my feet, laying movie like, sir, what did you think of the new Lion King? Were the eyes dead? Do we need realistic lines? And then he gets to go, they ruined a classic. Like, my childhood is dead. Like, he gets to do that, and then everybody, like, claps. But he says, at the end of the day, like, he realizes, like, if you're gonna do, like, everything's a job, and if you're gonna do something, at the end of the day, it's to make money. And he was like, everybody is like, they only made these new Lion Kings to make money and extend their copyright. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what corporations and film studios do. They're trying to make money at the end of the day. Like, it's cool if the art appeals to you, but at the end of the day, like, people are trying to get successful making stuff, and whatever things they think will work that aren't actively hurting anybody, it's fine. He was like, really, when it boils down to it, like, all movies are just somebody's vision coming through, and I'm nobody to like make fun of it. He was like, I'm fine with it as long as it isn't hurting anybody. Like, go for it. I'm happy that people are just creating the things that they like. But he was like, it is my job to be kind of ignorant and whack and tear things down, and so that's what I'm gonna do. And I was like, that's pretty cool, because I feel like I have that, like, with artists, for example. All the artist comes in a lot, and I'm sure this happens to you guys. I'm sure it happens to Lindsay. I'm sure it happens to Liana, where it's like your friend will be tearing down a piece of art, a video game, a movie, a song, a comic book, a whatever, tearing it down. Look at these in betweens. Or, oh my god, you call that acting? Oh my god, I fell through the floor of this level. Why did they? The devs don't even make games anymore. Lazy. Like, they have like hot takes about the medium. And then you, for whatever reason, maybe you're in your artist feelings at the moment, but you're kind of just like, hey man, these are human beings, and like they're just doing the best. Like, you kind of cape for the mistakes or the complaints that your homie's having with a piece of art. You're like, hey, this is like, I get that you don't like this song because it doesn't sound like the last album, but like, people grow and change. You can't expect an artist to just keep kicking out the same song every 5 months. Like, they have to grow and move on. They have to expand. Like, you expanded, you changed, and you don't want people judging you because you don't look like the same photo you took in 7th grade. You grew up, you changed what you liked. So aren't artists and performers and entertainers allowed to evolve also? You'll have like this very, very level-headed, logical take, and you'll make them feel bad for dogging on the thing. But at the end of the day, it's like both have to exist. You have to also be able to like poke fun at something or be like, I don't like this. This was whack. I don't like this meal. This meal was disgusting. I don't like the way this looks. This house is ugly. I don't like this car. This car is stupid. But as long as I think you can get to the end and go, I mean, this isn't hurting anybody, and I can see how people like this thing. This is actually a very good thing for the right person. This new Ariana Grande album, is a good thing for the right person. It just doesn't appeal to me. And so even though I slip up every now and then and say, this thing sucks or this thing is trash, what I try to say more often is, it's just not made for me. Animal Crossing just isn't made for me. Like a typical Zelda game, not counting Breath of the Wild because I haven't played it, a typical Zelda game isn't really made for me. Um, Not it's bad. Sometimes you can say things are made for you and they're bad. For example, Kingdom Hearts is, in a lot of ways, maybe most of the ways, horrible. I think that it's actually bad. I think it's actively harmful. I think it's one of the worst things I've put money into and time. But it hit me at a very specific point in my life and age. It was like, yo, you like Final Fantasy? You like anime visuals? You like J-pop? You like Disney? I'll go ahead and nix the Disney part. But you like worlds bending and intertwining? I was like, yeah, I like that's sick. That's sick. How much? $60? Mommy. Um, but yeah, it's not good. But it is made for quote unquote me. It is made for somebody like me. A lot of things that are like kind of whack are made for me. Anyways, I don't even know what point I was trying to get across. Just that like things are things are usually someone's like labor of love. Somebody really wanted to make a thing, and you have to realize that not everything is supposed to be for you, and because it's not doesn't make it bad. What movie was I just talking about? I feel like I was talking about a movie. Oh, like John Williams music. It's very good. It's very good. Most of the things I make fun of in this stream, guys, I actually like. If I don't like something, I'm usually not going to make fun of it. Actually. I'm usually not going to make fun of it. I'm usually just going to say, this thing sucks, and then I'll move on. Or, this thing is bad, or this person was really mean to me. But I'm not usually going to make fun of them. I feel like teasing things is usually specifically for things that I actually kind of like. Like Kingdom Hearts, I guess. Or like Degrassi. I do like Degrassi quite a bit. Okay, I think people just grow attached to your works and want more, says Zumbe. Oh, yes, we know how the psychology of it works. You go on to say it can be hard for some to move on and avoid begging the artist to make more of the same. For sure, right? I mean, if you were going to Dairy Queen to get ice cream and all of a sudden one day Dairy Queen was like, we do ribs now. You'd be like, man, I really liked your ice cream though. Like, I kind of wish that you kept making ice cream. Where am I supposed to go now to get ice cream? I can definitely see that, and I can relate to that because there's been a lot of artists and companies that have changed their output, and I did like the older output better. But I saw the merits and why it changed. I understand why Jet Set Radio Future is arguably a better game than Jet Set Radio, but I prefer Jet Set Radio than its sequel, to its sequel. I understand why. I understand why. What changed? Wow. What changed? I actually can't think of too many examples of this. That's sad. Showing support versus demanding something like the artist is a machine. Yeah. But I guess those are the two things, right? I can give you a synopsis, says Cyber. A synopsis on what? Sorry. I already forgot what I was talking about. The thing that I stopped liking. The thing that I got out of. Jiggering Radio. Oh. I played it. Don't get me wrong. I did play it. I just didn't like it as much. Yeah, that's one of the main things I didn't like. Cyber. I like that in Jet Set Radio. It's like, it feels like it took way more skill to do the graffiti part, and there was a stressful aspect of it. Like, if you were spray painting graffiti and you knew the cops were coming or something was coming up behind you, it added like an extra skill and like level of pressure to it. And then in Jet Set Radio Future, you kind of just hold one button and they just kind of create the entire picture depending on where you are physically. And like, that didn't ruin the game for me, but that was a particular bit of the first game that was so enjoyable to me. And so for people that didn't necessarily like that aspect or didn't play the first game at all, I can see that not mattering. But Pecknecking Noober says Jet Grind Radio. Yeah, I call it Jet Grind Radio too. My copy at home says Jet Grind Radio on it. That's my Dreamcast version, but I understand. I understand. And I think sometimes people think they're showing support by begging for a new album or whatever, but I don't know. It just feels like you see the artist as a delivery system of art. Um, they made it much easier to do tricks, which is cool, Cyber. The tricks were kind of just like if you were going a specific speed in Jet Grind Radio and you just jumped, a trick would just kind of come out. And you didn't really have any choice on what trick came out. Tricks seemed based off of velocity, actually, now that I think about it. Because if you just jumped, yeah, going a certain speed, they would do a trick. Huh. I think it's an issue of consumer brain, says Liana. That's exactly what it is. You know it's an issue of consumer brain. Exactly, Liana. People just see people doing a thing that they like to consume. When the thing changes or stops, they voice their opinions, which is in itself like innocuous, innocent. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes seeing an artist's delivery service can be rough. I think that there's a. I'm gonna say this and then we'll start wrapping up. I promise. I think if we're talking about industry, I think that there is a gross disconnect between ethics and business, where I think a lot of people have ethic brain, and I think a lot of people have a lot of like, will tweet something like, hey, if you're an artist and you're feeling down in 2020, don't force yourself to put out, art. It's okay. Like, take time for yourself. Self-care is more important than, the internet. They'll say things like that, and it's very, very cool, and it's very ethical, and it's very kind and understanding and empathetic. But there is a huge disconnect between the ethics and empathy of society and industry. Industry doesn't really care about stuff like that, right? It's like being like, hey man, I got laid off and things are hard, and then everybody comes around me and goes, that sucks, take care of yourself, it's okay, dust yourself off and re-enter the workforce when you feel ready. And then I tell that same thing to my landlord, and my landlord goes, oh, cool, baby, you're evicted, and I'm gonna go find somebody new to live in your place. There's like a disconnect between the ethics and the actual industry. Hey, what's up, everyone? And so I feel like people will be like, hey man, you want to leave? You want to like not tweet for a while? That's fine. And it is cool. But then when actual Twitter is concerned, it's like not so understanding. It's like, oh, you don't want to tweet for a while? Algorithm, hide this fool. Get this fool out of here. Fool's dead. He hasn't made anybody laugh in like 6 weeks. And so I think that there is a big disconnect where people feel bad because everybody is doing a good job or trying to do a good job at taking care of each other, but the industry just isn't connected at all to that. Like, it's just not connected. It's rough. It is Twitter's algorithm. It is everyone's algorithm. It's Spotify's algorithm. Like, it's every platform's algorithm prioritizes activity and engagement, and if you are not active or engaging, the platform deems you not profitable, and so it pushes you to a side so that they can have profitable things more at the forefront. It's just the way industry is built. If you have a restaurant and you close your restaurant because you have a family tragedy, your restaurant's not going to make a lot of money, and it might be hard to keep that restaurant in business. Your customer base isn't always going to come to your rescue. So point is, just saying that there is a huge disconnect between ethics and industry, and a lot of people think that just because the people or society are ethical, that the industry will be forced to also be ethical as well. But it's just not. It's just not true. It's just not true. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? And so I don't mean to make that like some doom and gloom end of the thing. If anything, we should be happy that we have ethics and the people around us. That people around us make us feel good about things, or if something tragic happens to you, maybe you have somebody that you can talk to, or if things are really difficult, maybe you have somebody that can help you. I just think the disconnect is with the industry, and right now, most industries are pretty cutthroat, pretty difficult. Hey, what's up, Win-Win? They're pretty rough. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. As somebody who has As somebody who has been pretty quiet on Twitter for a minute and is seeing the algorithm do its thing, I'm like seeing myself get pushed to like a dark cobwebby corner of the internet. It's a thing that happens. It's a thing that happens. 2021 is going to be very, very interesting for me and everyone, honestly. But probably shouldn't even be talking about 2021 with it being an election day. Um, oh, Liana says rent juice. I gotta do something for you guys. Oh my god, we were supposed to talk about season 3 today. We didn't even get around to it. Wow, ball completely dropped. Sorry guys. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to not talk about the presidency at all in the stream, and instead, we're just going to talk about season 3. We're going to talk about season 3 and how that could be good, and what sucks about season 2 of Morning Medley. I thank you guys in advance for your input on that. So I have a speed run. I have some bodies of workout. Please listen to them, guys. They're my babies. I worked really hard on them. Signals, Tall Tales, House of Omni, Nice Dream, Love Dream, Daydream, Speed Dream, Lust Dream, Ego Death, Quick Breath. I feel like I forgot one that time. I'm sorry if I forgot one. I'll name them in another stream, but you can find all those pieces of music on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. If any of these platforms ever get deleted, I'm going to be so mad because I have committed this list of platforms to memory, and if like Amazon buys Deezer or something like that, and Deezer goes away, it's going to ruin everything for me. Omar says, I found out about Young Skirt through your song with him. And now I got 2 really cool artists to listen to. That's a really sweet thing to say, Omar. Skirt's a good friend. Skirt is a good friend. We sometimes don't see eye to eye on things, but I think that I'm grateful for him as a friend. I'm glad that you have 2 artists. He also, I don't know if you ever go into his streams. He streams on Twitch. Pretty much the opposite schedule of me. He streams like pretty late at night. So I mean, if you found him, maybe you've been in one of his streams already. If not, yeah, he's great. I can't wait to work with him again at some point. I do intend to. What is Deezer? Deezer. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know my music's on it. Win-win. Nobody says, can't wait for Hush Hour to be played with the orange glow of the country on fire leaking through the window. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a time. It's gonna be a time, everyone. Oh boy. Omar, have you ever been to one of my Friday streams by chance? Hey, what's up, Mercedes? You didn't miss the entire stream. You just missed, let's say the guts of it. Whoa. Looks like my gloves are glowing. I wish I could always get this angle of the sunlight right. That'd be sick. Deezer is a French online music streaming service. Oh, it's French. Yeah, they're production streams. Oh my. Hello, Saints. Yeah, tomorrow we'll talk about season 3, guys. I hope you have prepared your complaints. I am ready to hear them. I have already considered the closet door complaint, and if today goes as planned, I will have a new curtain rack. Doesn't necessarily mean the closet door is going to close, but it does mean that the closet door won't be the only support of the curtain rack. Hmm. What was I? Sorry, what was I saying? Do you ever get a weird influx of listeners in a foreign country? Yeah, Bombay. Usually after a specific video happens. I remember I got a really wild influx in Indonesia for a second because I was one of my songs was used in some like video. It was like a musically video, and at the time, musically was pretty big and everywhere, I guess. But particularly this Indonesian musically user used one of my songs in a video, and that did a thing. But yeah, it happens. It happens. It happened in Japan after I released the song Venomade because Venomade was released through Attack the Music, which does a lot of distribution in Japan. So a lot of people in Japan know Venomade specifically. But yeah, it happens every now and then. Wait, it happened to you recently? When is imagining dying and then being greeted by me vibing on the piano. Sounds like you didn't make it into the good place. I don't want to die, says Cyber. Yes. Live forever. I realized something about the complaint, says Lindsay. Don't you think people will hold back because it's not anonymous? It's a good point, Lindsay. People will hold back because it's not anonymous. I would like to encourage people not to, because here's the thing, anonymous tips might help the tipper, anonymous complaints might help the complainer. God, it sounds awful. It might anonymity might help them, but anonymity actually hurts me because when I see random anonymous text, especially if it's negative, I am more inclined to ignore it, Lindsay, because that's what I do every day when I get like negative stuff and like DMs or negative stuff on like a YouTube comment. I see it as anonymous, so I just ignore it. However, if it's attached to like Omar, or if it's attached to Cyber, or if it's attached to Lindsay or Ava or Maddie, I'm like, oh, I know this person. This person isn't just being like a dick online. Like this person actually does care about the stream and probably has good things to say. So I think that you do have a really good point that the anonymity would help people, but I feel like I would be less inclined to listen to it and take it seriously. Yeah. I just kind of like earlier, I was talking about the person messaging me and being like, I wish you didn't make like these anime kawaii bops. I wish you made like lo-fi hip hop at least once. It would be cool. That message feels a certain way because it's coming from what I deem to be a stranger. Definitely somebody that's not even familiar with my catalog. So I'm like, this is a stranger, and I take that way differently than say if like Mobtown came in a stream and was like, I really wish you made like lo-fi hip hop. I would be like, oh, well, this person's a person that has listened to my music, went through the trouble of coming into a stream. I know them. We've talked several times. This is more of a conversation than it is just kind of like a thing to throw into someone's inbox. Win says, how do I meet other artists? I kind of want to make some music. Well, when there are a lot of online communities for meeting other artists. Actual physical communities for meeting other artists is kind of rough right now in 2020. But even though I would say SoundCloud's kind of dead, Discord seems to be a thing. I mean, I know a lot of popular producers, maybe if you listen to a producer, has Discords, and now it seems to be a thing. So maybe joining a Discord community and being a part of that is a good way to meet other artists and make some music. I can't say that I've done that from experience, but I can say that I have like reveled in online communities, whether it was the Bandcamp community, the SoundCloud community, or whatever, maybe even the Twitter music community, which is a thing. Like sometimes, I mean, a lot of my music friends I did meet through Twitter. I don't know how, I don't know how good and helpful the space is for that right now, but there was a time when it was. Maybe you can find a space like that for you. Um, you know, just by following and being internet wise, being like around some artists you either feel like you are similar to, or you feel like you are in the same path as, you make similar music to, or maybe you just like, being around those people, looking at what they're doing and involved in, and maybe involving yourself in some of those things. I know a lot of everything I'm saying sounds pretty vague, win-win, but it's particularly because I feel like I've already like made my social circle, and I made my social circle musically in a lot of spaces that don't really exist right now. But maybe that'll help. Win-win. I don't know. Okay. Also, side note, it always throws me off guard. They think I know Not a cuss, but still, yeah. Whenever I say it, do you know who Dick Dastardly is, Lindsay? Do you know who Dick Dastardly is? From the Discord, you can add me there. Oh, see, look, Omar, Win-Win and Omar already made friends. That's easy. Um, did you recommend them bath time? Says Crow to the person who is asking about lo-fi music. I recommended them the entirety of Lush Dream, Crow. Um, Not at all. You don't know who Dick Dastardly is? That's fine. That's not a weird thing to not know. Uh, I don't even think of. This is gonna sound really stupid. This is gonna sound really stupid, but when I was first hearing people call somebody else a dick, like don't be a dick, I always thought it was a Dick Dastardly reference. Hmm. Because he's a bad guy. I'm sorry, I didn't even explain who he is. He's a bad person. He's a bad person. Um, I don't know why I remember Dick Dastardly being somehow connected to Bullwinkle. I don't think he was actually. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He's an old Hanna Barbera cartoon that there was VHSs of in my home when I grew up, and so he was just a bad guy. And like people in my house didn't really say the word dick a lot. You know, like my parents weren't saying it, my siblings weren't saying it, but he was Dick Dastardly, and he was just a generally awful person. People were just like, "What a dick!" It's like almost like it's like saying like, you know, like what a Monica like from Friends or something like that. If you're like comparing somebody to like an actual character, what a Blair Waldorf. I think I've actually said what a Chuck Bass at some point in my life. Anyways, point is, it's not a reference to Dick Dastardly, but it has not escaped my vocabulary. I still say it pretty often. Such a cool name, by the way, Dick Dastardly. It's got it's got alliteration. It's got the word dastardly, which as a kid I didn't know what that meant. Like Yosemite Sam or Elmer Fudd. Ugh, screw Elmer. Am I right? You feel me? I already played Hush Hour, so I'm not gonna play it again. I'm gonna start winding down. I need to go. We have done 3 hours today. Jesus, we gotta stop. Tomorrow we're doing season 3 talk. I promise. Yeah. Oh, I need that pizza. I have a meeting in 2 hours. I think I can make it all the way to pizza and get back before the meeting. I don't want to do it, but I said yes. I did say yes. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I know it's going to be a pretty wild Tuesday. I personally, like I said, I'm not really going to be spending a lot of time online or on the news. A lot. I'm going to be on there a little bit, but not a lot. I'm going to go get my pizza. I'm going to do my meeting, which should take about 2 hours. Then at 4 o'clock, I'm going to, like, I don't know, play Genshin Impact for a little while. Then play Need for Speed Payback for a little while. And then play Watam for a while. And then listen to the new Freeze Pop album and just, like, chill in my room. It's been so long since I, like, danced, you know? I kind of want to dance. Anyways, that's not your guys' business, I suppose. Thank you guys for being respectful of me and polite to each other. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Abo.